Welcome to the EdDevelop channel. Have you ever wondered why the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans remain separate? For centuries, scientists have been trying to uncover the secret behind this great divide, and now we may have an answer. In this video, we will take a look at the research that has been done and discuss the possible explanations for why the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans are not connected. By the end of this video, you will have a better understanding of why the two oceans remain apart despite the powerful forces of nature that could bring them together. So, let's dive in and explore the mystery of the Great Divide. Have you ever wondered why the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans remain separate despite covering half of the globe? This phenomenon is known as the Great Divide, and it has been a mystery to scientists and oceanographers alike. In this video, we will take a deep dive into uncovering the secret of why the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans remain separated, exploring the factors that keep them apart and what would happen if the Great Divide was breached. Watch on to find out more about the fascinating concept of the Great Divide. Please subscribe to this channel and like this video if you want to receive future updates from us. What is the Great Divide? The division between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans is known as the Great Divide. The two oceans, which continue to be separated by more than 10,000 miles of land, are thought to have been split for millions of years. The Central American Cordillera, a collection of mountain ranges, marks the divide's location in the Panama Isthmus. The divide dates back to the late Cretaceous period, or more than 65 million years ago, when North and South America were still linked by land bridges. The two oceans separated during this time, and their currents stopped interacting. The division has persisted over time and is regarded as one of the most puzzling geological features in the world. How did this divide come to be? Scientists have been perplexed by the large rift between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans for millennia. Plate tectonics and continental drift over millions of years have produced this split. The supercontinent Pangaea formerly united all of the Earth's landmasses some 200 million years ago. Pangaea subsequently started to disintegrate over time, and its fragments eventually drifted apart to form the continents we see today. Large volumes of molten rock came up from the Earth's surface as the continents drifted apart, solidifying the space between the two oceans. This led to the formation of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, an underwater mountain range that divides the two sides of the Atlantic Ocean by running from north to south through the middle of the ocean. Additionally, the Mid-Atlantic Ridge produces regions of high temperature and pressure, which helps to keep the two oceans apart. In addition to the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, other geological features like the Panama Seaway, which separates North and South America, also helps to keep the two oceans distinct. The Panama Seaway acts as a bridge between the two oceans, allowing some oceanic species to travel between them, but preventing any major mixing of water between the two sides. Ultimately, it is these natural barriers that have created and maintained the Great Divide between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans for millions of years. It is these barriers that will likely keep them separate for many more years to come. What keeps the oceans separate? Numerous physical and geological processes help to sustain the large rift between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. The Drake Passage, a 600-mile waterway separating South America from Antarctica, is the principal barrier separating them. This passageway extends more than 12,000 feet below the surface. Strong currents that help to keep the waters of the two oceans apart are produced by the region's unique wind patterns. The Coriolis effect is another element that contributes to the separation. The rotation of the Earth causes this phenomenon to occur. In the northern hemisphere, it causes the surface winds to go eastward, while in the southern hemisphere, they move westward. Any attempt to move water from one ocean to another is rejected by the resulting opposing force. The temperatures of the two oceans also contribute to their separation. The Atlantic is significantly warmer than the Pacific, and this creates an additional barrier between them. As the two oceans meet, the warm water from the Atlantic tends to rise to the top, forming a surface layer that keeps the two bodies of water from mixing. Finally, several man-made structures keep the two oceans apart. These include dams, locks, and even underwater pipelines. By preventing any kind of flow between the two bodies of water, these structures help to maintain the divide between them. The significance of temperature. Temperature is a major factor in the separation of the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Since warm water is less dense than cold water, temperatures play an important role in the flow and circulation of ocean currents. In the Atlantic, warmer waters from the tropics flow northward, while colder waters from the Arctic and Antarctic regions flow southward. This creates two distinct currents that keep the two oceans separate. In addition to influencing ocean currents, temperature also affects salinity. The warmer waters of the Atlantic evaporate quickly due to the Coriolis effect, leaving behind saltier waters than those found in the Pacific. The difference in salinity further serves to keep the two oceans apart. Temperature also affects the formation of the oceanic lithosphere. As the plates spread apart along the mid-ocean ridges, magma wells up between them. This magma is much hotter than the surrounding water, and this heat helps to drive the separation of the two oceans. Overall, temperature plays a key role in keeping the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans separate. Its influence on ocean currents, salinity, and lithospheric formation all serve to maintain the Great Divide between these two vast bodies of water. The importance of salinity. Salinity, or the amount of salt in a body of water, is one of the main factors in why the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans remain separate. The salinity of the ocean varies from region to region due to regional environmental factors, but on average, the Atlantic Ocean has a higher salinity than the Pacific Ocean. This difference in salinity is thought to be the result of different levels of evaporation rates in each ocean. The Atlantic Ocean has a higher rate of evaporation compared to the Pacific Ocean, which means it loses more water to the atmosphere and therefore accumulates more salt in the water over time. This higher salinity level leads to a denser water mass that does not mix easily with the lower salinity of the Pacific Ocean. This density difference creates an invisible barrier that prevents large-scale mixing of the two oceans. In addition, the surface currents of both oceans move in opposite directions and also help to maintain this divide. The surface currents of the Atlantic Ocean are clockwise, while those of the Pacific are counterclockwise. This further reinforces the salinity gradient between the two oceans and prevents them from mixing. The importance of salinity in maintaining the Great Divide between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans can't be understated. The unique combination of evaporation, temperature, and surface currents creates an invisible wall that keeps these two oceans distinct and separate. What would happen if the Great Divide was breached? If the Great Divide between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans was breached, the effects would be felt around the world. The most significant impact would be a rise in sea level due to the mixing of the two oceans. This could result in coastal flooding, increased erosion, and even loss of life in some areas. The mixing of the two oceans would also disrupt current ecosystems, leading to an imbalance in species composition and potentially damaging existing food webs. Additionally, changes in the temperature and salinity due to the mixing of the two oceans could significantly alter weather patterns worldwide, leading to more extreme weather events such as hurricanes and droughts. Finally, a breach of the Great Divide would also affect global climate change, as it would introduce a large amount of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. All in all, a breach of the Great Divide would have drastic effects on the global environment. While it is unlikely that this will happen anytime soon, it is important to understand what the consequences could be should the Great Divide be breached. The Great Divide between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans has been a mystery for centuries, but now we know why these two oceans remain separate. Through millions of years of geological and tectonic movement, the two oceans are kept apart by the Mid-Atlantic Ridge and the Panamanian Sill, as well as various other geographical features that span from South America to Africa. This separation of the two oceans ensures that they maintain their distinct characteristics and provide a diversity of life, habitat, and resources around the world. Without the Great Divide, our planet would be a very different place. That is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. What did you think about our video? Subscribe for more content like this and hit the like button and share. Also, leave a comment if you have a topic you want us to cover. Until next time, take care.